you've tuned into Gila Nehemiah Sacred Erotic Poetry, Sacred Sexuality, and Ascension podcast. Thank you for being here. I want to, I'm going to be spending some time reading people's feedback from a couple of weeks ago, my podcast. I wanted to acknowledge them today. Thank you for those of you who've been listening and subscribing. I'm so excited. My last podcast, I think it's like over 3K, which is just amazing. I'm just so glad that people are tuning in and not only listening to me, but really listening to themselves and allowing their intuitive gifts to flourish, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. So without ado, we're going to be jumping right in here. Let's take 3 deep breaths. Please close your eyes, set a sacred space. Really just light a candle and take three deep breaths with us. If you're driving, you can take 3 deep breaths, but please don't close your eyes. So those of you who aren't driving, please close your eyes and let's take 3 deep breaths together. I'm calling in our higher selves, God, Source, Universe, Mother Earth, our intuitive gifts, our ancestors, our archangels, all of our guides to assist us in really turning on all of who we are, the power within, the power without, and that true connection into oneness and unity. Thank you. Aho, and so it is. And you can pause and add anything else if you'd like to. So, wow. I'm going to be talking about our intuitive gifts and why they are important today for the collective awakening. Though before I go into that, I just wanted to share the feedback I got from the Divine Unity podcast, which was a couple of weeks ago. I want to thank Mama San Kylie for saying thank you. I want to thank Holiness for saying that the truth is the foundation, is not you. It's not you. It's God in Jesus' name and is your foundation. Thank you anyway. We had a correspondence, so thank you, Holiness. And yeah, that's it for now. I want to thank all of you who have been watching, and if I've missed anyone, I will definitely share that in the next podcast. So last podcast, I spoke about silence as a way to really connect into our higher self and our intuitive gifts, specifically our intuitive gifts. And I wanted to talk about some feedback I received outside of the feedback I just mentioned. Was what about silence? Like if you've been through trauma, should we be silent? And the answer is, of course not. I'm never an advocate of being silent because you're trying to suppress something. The reason I shared the last podcast about silence is the way to go within. Silence is the way to get into the answers to the truth. Though what I would say is that silence is not the way to really begin to express yourself. To really guess, if you've had some challenges and you felt like you've always been silent and shut down, therefore creative expression is really the way through that. It can be first through speaking, it could be through, poetry, it could be through art, it could be through writing, it could be through anything, right? It could be through direct confrontation, whatever it is that you desire. So I think that there's a fine line here, as there is with anything, as I've been on this path, it's always a paradox, right? It's like, okay, yeah, I shouldn't be silent. I should always speak up. But at the same time, to really connect to ourselves, we have to be still, right? We have to go into silence. We have to be present with what is. And sometimes that does not include speaking. And so, where does one begin? Where does the other end? That is your call. You're using your own wisdom to decide, when do I stand up and when do I hold back, and it may not be just holding back yourself. It could be just like hanging low, like just kind of observing. And sometimes you're inside the mix, and sometimes you aren't. And that again depends on you and your connection to who you are and your higher self, and how it's connecting to you. So what does it mean to be your higher self? I hope I answered that question. If any of you have any questions about that, please let me know. I am a big advocate of speaking your truth, stating your story. Anyone who has been in my group program or has worked with me personally knows that that's my biggest uh, can't think of the right word, but I'm totally a huge advocate of everyone telling their story, whether it's written or it's in any other creative way, because everyone's story, I feel, it needs to be told, and not just to their family members, but needs to be shared because we've all gone through a variety of different things in our lives, and it's really important to share because if we don't share, which is a form of speaking up and not being silent, um, you know, those of us cannot ever. Acknowledge your gifts and your challenges and how you face them, because I feel like we all face them creatively, right? There's no one way to get through our challenges. That's our journey. It's part of our sacred journey, and that's always an unfolding with ourselves, with the divine, and with our higher selves. It's a really combination, with all the energies, with other souls. It's just a combination of sometimes it seems like, distress, but can become really pure magic, magic in a very soulful way. So, and I'll get into that in another podcast. So today I really wanted to focus on intuition, because I started it last week about silence as a way into our intuitive gifts. And I wanted to really share that, like, why is it important to turn on our intuitive gifts? Obviously, it's going to help us because we become more aware of our own power, and we realize all that we have to offer for ourselves and others, and also for the collective awakening. It's really important that we harness the power that is within us and our own knowing, and I think that we've forgotten a lot of things, right? Because we've been socially conditioned. I was just listening to the guy from Mind Valley the other day, and he was just saying, I forgot his name. I don't remember, but he was stating how, like, from birth, like at birth we have everything we need, and then we are socially conditioned, um, and it's also generational trauma that's inside of us. And I know for a fact that that is true. You can listen to Gabor Mate. He talks a bit about that, in his movie, and so. And I know from my own life and from my, people who I know, their lives, I can see the pattern, because I'm really attuned to it and I see it happening. There's no question about it. The question is, how do we overturn that? How do we change? And so you can change through a variety of ways. I think you all know therapy, healers, guides, coaches, doing what you really love, what you're passionate about, not always going with the crowd, really just standing firm in your own belief system, not having to necessarily abide by specific religion if that is not calling to you, just being who you are with your own principles. That's first and foremost. And then secondly, it's just like, it's as you stand alone, it's not, you're never really alone, right? You're always with the divine, if you don't believe in God, you're always with others who are like-minded, who are going to support you as you stand forth. Others come in, and it's that whole process of courageousness, right? It's like, it's not easy to realize we have gifts. It's not easy to even understand these powers and how we can use them. What am I talking about? Talking about clairvoyance, clairaudient, people who are very attuned, Maybe they see things, you're clairvoyant. Maybe you, see things in your mind's eye, or you see things physically, that other people can't see, or you hear things that others can't hear. Maybe you have connection to others where you can speak with each other without speaking, like you're talking with each other's minds. That's all true. I'm none of this is new, right? We know about X-Men, we know about Thor, we know about all these different things, Doctor Strange, all these different things, right? But that's not just in the movies. This is a reality, And so going back to the Mind Valley person, like he was sharing how somebody had discovered that he could help his children because his children weren't learning well in school, and he was able to kind of put them into a relaxed state and then help them to remember things that they can, do well in school. And he became so famous. This is in Laredo, Texas. I don't remember his name. That he was teaching adults and he's teaching children. And this is nothing new. Right? He even stated like the monks were doing it in Tibet or in other places, the Buddhist monks. This is never anything new. Part of my own practice is I go into a relaxed state. Every morning I go into a relaxed state. I set an intention. I do a sankalpa, which is yoga nidra. If any of you who know what that is, that's what I do. I do yoga nidra. I put in an intention. I go and I allow my connection from my conscious to my subconscious mind to help to lead me to that next step, whatever that's going to be. But the only way to get there is to completely relax your body. And you can do this before sleep. You can do this with meditations on YouTube. You can do this with anything that works for you. But going into the relaxed state, which is really what I wanted to talk about today, getting into any relaxed state obviously reduces stress, reduces any kind of feelings of insecurity or like that you have to fit in or anything like that. You finally feel like, okay, I'm good with myself. And that feeling, whether it's for a minute a day or whether it's for 10 minutes a year, like whenever you feel that way, right? Whether you're swimming, I love to swim on my back. I have this huge sense of peace. I love to, I never used to like to meditate, because my mind was always running. But after I was doing like a meditation that I would do every single day. It was like an app for 3 minutes. And then I started to do it, with healers, I would say they would send me meditations. Then I started to do it on my own. And so it has been, sorry, my mind is like moving so fast that the words aren't coming out. It has been like a gradual movement where I can do this on my own. I can do it at any time. I can do it by listening to music. I can do it while working. I get into a meditative state where and when the stress levels are high, I know how to get back into that state. Now, why is this important? So how does this connect to intuition? Yes, we know that this definitely reduces stress, which is super important. But when you are in a relaxed state, you begin to think creatively and you begin to realize that obviously thoughts can create things, right? So you can switch things around to create your desired results. And we're not talking about magic here. We're talking about just like moving into your higher self. What is our purpose on this earth or on this planet or in this life? However you want to see it. And many of us don't even know what that is, right? We're just not sure. But something will, we become passionate about something or we realize something about ourselves. Something just clicks sometimes, it's like we're being led from one thing to another, and we don't even realize where we're going. And we're like, wait, where am I even going? We're just like, I don't know. This just feels good. So one, it's about feeling good. It's about being in a relaxed state, and it's about allowing and receiving. So there are a lot of different concepts here that are super important that I feel like I just felt it was necessary to share today. Of course, I was just like, what am I going to talk about? And when I was listening to the Mind Valley person, I was realizing that, what, this has been around for so long, and there's so many people that are advocating this, and it's nothing new. It's just that it's new for us because we can finally realize we can be in a relaxed state. We can have an amazing job and not have it to be draining. We can actually get along with people and have a work-life balance. Like everything's kind of coming together. I feel, maybe not for everybody, but I feel in my own life and for others, who have decided not to go with what everyone else is doing. So, it could mean anything. It could be maybe saying no to the vaccine, or it could be saying no, that I don't want to work full time because I need to take care of my children, or, no, I need to have this kind of relationship that is really calling for me, and I'm not just going to go out with anybody. It's just like these are things that you just stand up for. And like people are like, if they're wondering, like, why aren't you partnering with so and so or something like that? It's like, well, I'm going my own way. And I feel like it's, at least I feel this way. I don't know how you feel because I've been working on this for a long time. I don't feel any kind of regret, or I don't feel any kind of need to be accepted by anyone else but myself. If I don't feel good about it, it's just not going to happen. And I don't care what anyone says. And that took me a long time to get there, because I was socially conditioned to do what the masses were doing, on some level, not on all levels, but on some level. Growing up in New York City, and being of a certain ethnicity, I wasn't really part of the crowd, quote unquote. Depends on which crowd you were talking about, obviously, but I wasn't part of the crowd, and so was always there, and I always was like connected to, you know, um, the underdog, and I always believed in that, and I just didn't know how to go about it. So that's where it took me these last few years. That's where I focused my energies on, and I saw a lot of progress and success in my life, because I finally, and it wasn't about monetary success, financial success. It was about love. Love with my children, love with the people who I'm close to, love with all beings, because I really do feel like that's attainable, and also peace within myself. So I feel like what I'm trying to say is that the more that we turn on those higher powers that we know we have and connect to them in stillness, then we are able to get into those spaces that there is no direct pathway, which I can't say, like, this is what you need to do next. I can say, by sitting in stillness and by doing what you love, whether it's just like going out for a walk with your dog, living in a more natural place, composting, doing, really connecting to nature. These are just some of the things I do that work for me. Eating a more plant-based diet has really helped me as well, because I just feel like, you know, any emotions I have are my emotions. Growing my own, mint and some fruit trees and things like that, that has been helpful to me. Really deciding like what's going in my body, what I'm doing every day, how do I start my day, what is my spiritual practice, how do I balance my life? These are all really important questions, and I feel like when we go on that path, everything else begins to fall into place. If you're feeling like stressed because of your finances, or stressed because of a job situation, or a romantic situation, or issues with your children or families. Um, when you begin to really connect to your own truth, whatever that is, and connect to your own powers using all of your talents, you're going to see that things are going to shift. Not just closing one door and allowing, like, let's just say for a while, I only wanted to be a coach. I would do nothing else. Regardless of what was coming my way. And so I feel like I closed a lot of doors instead of opening all the doors and saying everything is possible, and we're going to allow it to happen in whatever way it needs to. And I feel like I'm only able to do that now because I know that whatever I do is being led by my higher self. I'm allowing my higher self and the divine to lead me. So when we can allow ourselves to receive our own gifts and the gifts from the divine, we are then allowing so much more joy into our life. We are raising our vibration. And sometimes we feel like, wait, why am I doing XYZ? Well, because that's what we're led to do, and we don't always know why. But we know that it's serving a purpose in our lives, and it's helping us to grow. So I would say that if you're unsure about your next step, Do whatever you need to do to what you're being guided to do for your next step, and allow whatever happens to let it happen. There's Tammy Impala, who's now one of the bands I like. He is a solo artist, but he's like, let it happen, let it happen. It feels so good. So, I mean, I didn't say all the lyrics. I'm not sure exactly where those come in, but I think that that really makes sense to me, right? Letting it happen and allowing it to feel good, not controlling your powers, not controlling the result, not controlling your life, allowing things to happen and being very clear as much as you can of what you are desiring, because what you're desiring is actually coming from within you. It's coming from your soul into your consciousness, and we go back into our subconscious and we just allow it to happen. So meditation is really, a big way. Being passionate and following your passion is another great way. Doing what you love is an extension of following your passion is also amazing. Like if you love to swim, go swim. You love to go into, you know, you may have resistance to it. Like I can't, right? We're always like, I can't do that because I don't know, I got to go to work. I can't do that. Well, how can you do it? What would be the best circumstances so you can do it? And maybe you've tried all possible ways and you just don't know what else to do. Okay, so now you just leave it, like you let go. You completely surrender. And this is something also that's very challenging. When we surrender, that's how we receive, right? And I feel like all of these concepts I've discussed, but I think the big thing that I wanted to share today is about your own gifts. To really turn them on is to receive and to allow you to begin to merge with your higher self, which is a constant, continual process. Because as we continue to merge with our higher selves, we're going to be raising our vibration, and we're going to feel a lot more joy, and nothing is going to feel impossible. It's just going to be like, yeah, that's completely possible. Like I want to move. I don't know when I'm moving. I'm not sure. I'd like to move within the next 6 weeks. I don't see anything, and I know that everything's just working for my highest good. Whatever will happen will happen. I'm not going to get stressed out about it. There's nothing I can. I'm doing whatever I can, and I'm just receiving what needs to be received. And so I feel like, we have everybody has something that they're desiring, or they're, something isn't working out the way they want to. But you know what? We cannot control these things. Though what we can do is connect into our own subconscious mind and allow ourselves to, begin to visualize, begin to see, begin to feel, begin to know, because we know really we have the way in our hearts and our souls. We know what needs to happen. Though a part of that is what I had shared before. We've had implants, we've had conditioning, we've had all these things that stop us from really stepping in. Some of us have wanted, when I left my job, I don't know, 5 years ago, and I just walked into coaching, not having any experience in business or anything like that. I was just like, this is what I want to do. Nobody stopped me. People were like, "Well, are you sure?" Or like, "Yeah, I am." I was really on it. I felt it. So I want to encourage you that if you feel something, you know, don't hesitate. Yeah, we want to plan. Things could have happened differently. Maybe I could have planned a little bit better. But you know what? It happened the way it was supposed to happen. And I'm not afraid of that. And I wanted to share a really good quote with you. So this is a quote that I wanted to share by Charles Bukowski. You have to die a few times before you can really live. And I know I talked about this before, that dying is a metaphor. We don't have to actually physically die, right? We can die by letting go of a old persona. We can die by going bankrupt. We can die by going through a divorce. We can die when someone else dies in our life that's very close to us. We can die when we are disconnected from our families. There's so many ways that we're consistently dying, But when we can, like, when I was in a lot of financial stress, everything I felt was going wrong, nothing was going right, and I felt like I was dying. I had to like let go of this idea that it's going to happen this way, and of really just saying I don't have anything, and that was really hard. It was really hard to believe that that could even happen to me. Asking people for help, and it was really really difficult for me. And so I'm just encouraging you to not be afraid of death. And I know I've said it before, but I feel like when we die, we that's how we grow, and we can actually tune in, going back into silence and our intuitive gifts, we can tune in to what is happening right and how we can, shift the situation. And it doesn't have to be a mental exercise, right? It's about feeling through it. It's about actually feeling that feeling of having nothing, but that's how we have everything. Rumi says that, which is so true. Oh my gosh, it's so so true. It's by grace, right? We like have nothing. We have nothing. Maybe we have no house. Maybe we have, no furniture. We have nothing. No money in the bank. Nothing, right? Everything disappears all of a sudden. I was just like, wait, how am I gonna do this? And then there's going to be this amazing thing that happens to you, whether it's a person or an opportunity or something. And because you just release and surrender and just are like, okay, I don't know. And with that, I don't know, that deep, deep surrender, you open up to the deepest gift that you have, which is within you, the power that you never realized that was there. So I know that all of you have them. I know this. I just know this in my heart. People used to say I'm not creative. Well, you know what? Everybody's creative. Everyone's gone through situations where they had to be creative, and I've shared that before. If you've had a child, if you've had a dog, if you've had an animal, like, you've had to be creative. If you're living, you are creative, and you are gifted. You have intuitive gifts, and you can harness them. I have programs to help you harness them. I have quantum healing to help you harness them. Both group and personal mentoring is what I do, as well as there are a number of meditations right on YouTube that you can connect into. You can go to SoundCloud. There's so many different things that you can do as well for free. And I think that the truth of the matter is, if you are listening to this, if this is resonating with you, I definitely recommend scheduling a 15-minute discovery call with me, just to um, explore how to move through your current challenge, number one, and number two, how to connect into the depth of your own powers. Because I know you are connected into at least one of them, because we all know at least one, or a talent that you have. The exercise I'd like you to do is to write down what you're really, really good at, what you really love, and the things that you're super passionate about. Um, you know, as long as it takes, right? It could be pages. It could be 2 pages. It could be just 3 sentences. And I would just like you to focus on that every day, doing one or two of those things every single day in whatever way, fashion that it can happen. And I guarantee you, you will definitely tap into more of your powers by doing it consistently, because you know that consistency is what we all need to truly step into more of who we are. Honestly, today it's like 10:30 at night. I'm doing this podcast because I said I'm kind of come on every Saturday, and it was really hot today. I was resting a lot of the day. It was just so hot. But I got up in the evening because it's cool, and it's nice, and I feel more energized. So we just have to allow ourselves to do what we feel makes us feel good. And it doesn't have to make sense to anyone. Nobody. It doesn't even have to make sense to you. The only barometer is your emotion. Does it feel good? If it feels good, I'm doing it. Period. Nothing more, nothing less. So I want to just remind you that through silence, through meditation, you can connect into your higher self, into your intuitive gifts. And it's so important to turn them on, as much as you can, full blast, really connect and own that, because that is what we need in this collective awakening. We need you and your powers. We need you to feel whatever you want to feel and be whoever you want to be, because that's how we move together. That's how our hearts connects and our souls connect. And that's how we remove the social conditioning, the implants, anything that's blocking us, by stepping in to who we truly are, by turning on those gifts and being fully reclaiming them and saying that this is my power and I am safe now to share that power with others, which we'll get into next week. So thank you so much for listening. I know the solstice is coming, so I'll be sharing more about that next week as well. And I'm just so happy that you're here and that you've been listening and subscribing. So definitely subscribe and share with your friends, and let me know. Send me some feedback. You can send me an email at gila@gillianhammer.com. You can go to my website, gillianhammer.com, and go to my contact page. You can schedule a 15-minute call with me. That's free. That'll be a link in the details as well as on my webpage. So I'm just really happy to be alive. This is such an exciting time. I feel super, super turned on by just being with you every week, as well as just the energies right now. And I'm also encouraging you to come into Guidely. I know I told you about this platform I'm on. I'm doing self-love daily every day, 5 days a week, in a group in Guidely. So come in. You can join for free, and there is some details about getting into groups. So you'll find out about that when you join. And I will be doing an event in the end of June. So I'm encouraging you to join and get some information about that event. And it is a Zoom event, so you can join and see me live and be with me live for about 45 minutes. I'll be doing some stuff that I will tell you some more about in my next podcast. So I look forward to connecting with you again. And I'm so, so happy that we have this chance to connect every week. And I want to just send you my love, and send you connecting my heart to yours. And feel free to reach out to me. And I just want to acknowledge and honor each and every one of you for who you really are. Namaste, Shanti, Shalom. Let's take three deep breaths together. I want to end with Om 3 times. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Hari Om. I want to thank our guides, our hearts, our higher selves, our ancestors, our archangels, God's Source Universe for assisting us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to this transmission. Namaste, Shanti, Shalom.